You know, I think when I first got in it, I was intimidated by it. I mean, it's a big airplane with a big engine on it, and at the end of the day, it's just an airplane, and that's always easier said than done. You know, you first time you fly a Mustang, you think, oh my gosh, thing's got 1,500 horsepower or close to it, and you hear all these horror stories, these old wives' tales about people going off a runway or flipping them up, and so you have all this in your mind of how it's going to be or how it could be. It's an airplane, and they all got their quirks, and they all have little nuances about them and stuff, and but it's really a nice flying airplane. I mean, it's once you get over the mindset of how large and how much it is to handle and control. Once you get past that, it's just you kind of feel more comfortable and you realize it's just another aircraft.
So we just did an engine run and we're changing the hose, and that leak is fixed, and now we've got an O-ring that's bad, and should be, you can actually see it right here, that blue corrosion and stuff, and a hard as a rock O-ring. So hopefully new O-ring, 2 new O-rings, and we're back in business. The main hydraulic line off of the pump going into the system on the airframe.
So without that, you've got no aileron control, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
no landing gear, no flaps, no speed brakes, everything. That will spoil your whole day. We don't like that.
They know it's a warplane of some sort. It does definitely catch attention. You park it next to a little Cessna or something, and it looks like a fleet of Cessnas in one aircraft, you know, size-wise. But it does draw a huge crowd, and people are always amazed with the oil leaking out of it and stuff, and they think it's broken or something. No, that's the way it is. I'd be more concerned if it wasn't leaking. But when I first started flying, I'd be wearing a bunch of it. And it's fun. I got 2 flight suits. I got one for round motor aircraft and one for inlines. Because inlines, if you're getting dirty, there's something really wrong with it. But it takes, you got to be conscious of it. It just jumps off onto you. I've never seen anybody go near it with a white t-shirt and come away a winner. First thing with a pre-flight on most aircraft, a lot of people, you know, you say it begins when you walk out towards the airplane. You just kind of look at general ideas or walking. You know, you may be 50 feet out, you're checking out, you walk out, you may notice the plane's a little bit slanted, maybe a strut's low. You may see a puddle under somewhere we're not used to seeing it. Maybe something just doesn't look right. Maybe a ground vehicle might have bumped into something. So it really, to back up, it starts when you walk out to the plane. You just kind of get a general look at the aircraft. But as you get more close to it and you check the cockpit, you come down, and where I usually start back here at the back of the wing, just looking for general condition of the aircraft. Some aircraft have a more complex flap system that's exposed with hinges. This one doesn't. Everything's sealed up, so we can't really check anything up here in the gap or the controls. Wings are typically folded. With it being folded, we can't really exercise the ailerons so much. We got a little bit of movement, but not full movement. If the wing was down, we'd of course any ordnance. In this case, you know, it's fake ordnance, but you'd want to make sure everything's on there nice and tight. You don't want anything coming off the aircraft in flight. Make sure nothing looks out of place. If you saw some real shiny metal somewhere, that might tell you that something's getting scraped on and binding up that it's not supposed to be. So, you know, there's nothing, just kind of a general overall. And as you fly it more, you get more used to it. You know, you might be more likely to see something, whereas if you just started flying, it may not look too odd to you. You got a little switch down to let you know when the gear's down or the wings are fully spread, and it lets you know to stop the pump from coming down.
That switch tells you that the wings are down and locked.
It's telling the mechanism
that
it's down locked. So you'll walk around over here, I'll show you something else. So you got this red dowel that sticks out, this rod. This is a second part. So when we lower the wings, when we spread the wings, it's a two-part deal that we operate in the cockpit. One's a handle that you put down, and that activates the hydraulic system and the wing spreading. So wings will come down. Once they're fully spread, there's another lever that we have, and it folds down. When it folds down, it retracts this pin, and that lets us know that we've locked the mechanism. So that's one of the pre-flights. When you spread the wings, you want to look out, you want to make sure that that's flush with the leading edge. If it's not, then you may not have a locked wing. Landing gear, of course, tires, obviously you want to check how they look, make sure they look low, the condition of the tires, make sure there's not any damage to them. Walking up to it, you've got big wheels, big fairings here. And this one's pretty tight. You'll notice the other side's got a little bit of slack in it, but just a fairing. It's not, you can actually fly these without it on there, but you wouldn't want one coming off in flight. So it's something you definitely want to make sure it's affixed to the aircraft properly. General condition brakes. You can see a little gap there. It's probably kind of hard to see, but there's a gap right in here. If that starts to look a little excessive, that looks about right, but we've got a little feeler gauge up in the cockpit. If there's ever a question of the condition of the brakes, you drop that little feeler in there, and if it can fit in there, then you've got some issues there. Brake lines, standard on most aircraft, looking for any leaks, looking for any damage to them. Typically you would see, brake fluid or something down there, hydraulic fluid down on the ground. You really want to pay attention to this prop, make sure it's not leaking any fluid. If it loses its fluid, and it doesn't have much, you can see it's a very small reservoir. It causes you grief, especially a big propeller like this. Looking at that, looking back, you can't really see engine too well because it's really recessed in that cowling, but just kind of generally look. See if anything looks out of place or looks abnormal, maybe a lot of oil somewhere, maybe something that looks really clean could also indicate that maybe a push rod tube's backed out or something's come loose. So seeing something really clean in this situation is probably not such a good thing unless they just worked on it. Cowling, general condition of it. When you look under here, you can see the red lines line up because they've been doing some work on it to make sure they got the cowling locked down properly, and that lets you know it's in line with the red lines, that you're good there. Rudder, big rudder. Just checking for the free movement of it, make sure you got full motion of it. You got some hinge points down here, just make sure all the hardware's in place. You see the castle nut there, the hinge, just kind of making sure everything's where it's supposed to be. And obviously you can't really pre-flight that high up there unless you got a ladder, but if everything's moving pretty smooth, and there's nothing to give any indication that something's wrong, it's probably all right. But just check what you can check where you can check it.
Way back at the very beginning, Douglas was branching out, trying to get as much utility out of their aircraft as they could. You had your radar operator and your ECM people were in where we were sitting, and all the equipment was in the back. Now, the aircraft that I flew, that was kind of a hybrid between the two. It had the equipment up there where we were sitting, and the radars there were in the back, and they did that. Now, but other times, at other configurations of it, they had the pilot, co-pilot, although I really think that the co-pilot was really a radar operator. I haven't confirmed that and don't know. And then you had two operators in the back, this is ECM. So they had that version and different variations of it. But now they had the version of where they had the big canopy up there, and the radar operator sat behind the pilot, and that was the APS 31. That's what I was trying to get, APS 31. And I flew, that's the one that I was flying off the coast of Santa Monica. You sat back there. So you had all of this big glass around you and but it was tinted. But your radar had just a protected scope. And the only way to keep it where you could see is you had to keep your face in there, which cut the light off. And now you talk about the turbulence, that just beat your face up. You get to bumping. I've been black and blue across my nose and up my forehead, but that was not very often. That's if you got pretty much low stuff.
So I was just going to say, if we do have an off-field landing for whatever reason, I'm going to set up. We got plenty of open fields there. There should be a non-issue if we have to go on the grass. The gear's going to be up, so we're going to slide it in. It'll probably come stop pretty quick. The thing I want you to do is just start getting out. If for some reason we end up incapacitated up front, don't wait for me to get you out. If I'm an ability to get out, I want to come help you guys get out. But start getting out of the airplane. The big thing is you got a big drop right here. You don't want to survive an off-field landing and hurt yourself getting out the side of the airplane. I mean, obviously there's fire, smoke, whatever. It's going to probably get you motivated a little bit quicker than if it's just a bunch of dust flying around. But just start getting out. I'll do the best I can to come help all y'all. Whoever's the most able-bodied, assist would be you. You know, start getting everybody out. We're gonna go for about 30 minutes. We'll just do some gentle stuff. Nothing too crazy. Some wing overs. Have a little fun with it. I don't know what it's like right now. I don't know if it's smooth or not. Hopefully it's pretty smooth for us. Got some 6-sacks over there. If anybody's feeling a little ill, don't be embarrassed. It happens. It gets bumpy from time to time. If anybody needs to ask me anything or got something pressing, an issue, you know, whoever's got any one of these 2 headsets, just tell me, hey, Mark, you know, we need this, we need that, or what's going on.
This handle right here, you see that handle that he just shut, that yellow one right there? It's mounted right here. All you do is you pull that handle down and just push the canopy up if you have to get out.
Okay.
We already showed you the emergency releases and all that, but I always like to show people that again just in case.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Don't anybody get sick and throw up my airplane.
No, we'll try not to.
This is such a fun airplane. I'm actually jealous y'all are going and I gotta stay on the ground. All right, see y'all in a bit.
Don is wearing his lucky flying gloves from days gone by and has spent many hours on Skyraiders. Can you tell us a bit about what you did?
I was in electronics. I flew the countermeasures, ECM, and the radar. And Douglas Aircraft and got the planes from the Navy and then modified them for certain antenna designs, and that's what we test flew, is if this antenna would be correct for what they were wanted it to do. If I flew up in this position here, I was flying the radar position. Otherwise, in the version that we had, you sat back and the bilge was back there, and it had a little old tiny window that you could look through if you unzippered it, but you kept it zippered up because your scopes, you needed to be able to see them. You couldn't with the light.
So what sort of aircraft was this? Early warning radar that you were working on?
No, although this model was an early warning, but it had nothing.
That's it.
And to be able to have my son, thank you, to go with me, that just made my day. When you get this feeling of a flight, and you're accomplishing something, you know, I was hidden back in the bilge most of the time, but still you were accomplishing something. You got done, you crawled out of there, you went in, you know, it was just a good feeling you accomplished it. And then to accomplish it where I got him to go with me today, and that was really the height of you get this in there. I really appreciated it.
Really, really nice treat, and very unexpected, you know. And like I said, it worked out great that he was able to come along and go ride and get to hear his stories, and you could just see him light up. And you know, it was quite a privilege to get to do such. And you know, guys like that, I mean, he's 87 years old, you know, and there's just not too many guys out there that can tell, especially at that age, can tell the story and talk about it like he did. You know, he still remembers a lot of facts and a lot of details, and he obviously still has a special place for him. He's still, you know, enamored by the aircraft, and that's really special.